Can't sleep when I lay in bed. Too much thinking in my head. I don't know what to do anymore. Well, come on now, tell me the score. Is there anything I can do to get out of these tragic blues? I'm a victim of circumstance. I never really had a chance. I lay down and stare at my feet. You know the world has got me beat.
Welcome to today's edition of Mental Health Matter. Today we have the YSU program from NorCal Mental Health America. We got a great show ahead in store for you guys, so stay tuned. Thank you guys for being on our show today. I know you guys got busy schedules, and so I thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules. So I want to start off by asking you to introduce yourselves and what you do at NorCal MHA and how did you get involved with the YSU program? You can start.
Great. My name is Betsaida LeBron, and I am the YSU program manager. So I've been with NorCal MHA for a little over 3 years now. Did not start with the WISE program, but kind of moved over to that program. And then when YSU became a program, have been involved with that since the beginning, and am now the program manager.
Nice.
Yeah.
So my name is Liana Ma. I'm the YSU program coordinator. I got involved with YSU as a student, actually. So I was a participant in the very first session, winter of 2016. I graduated from the program, did my 20 hours fieldwork requirement with NorCal MHA, and then I did an internship for 6 months after that, and then I was hired on as staff as the program coordinator.
Nice.
Yes.
Hey, my name is Zohair Hussein. I'm a peer partner at the APS Clinic, which works with NorCal MHA. And I was also a student at YSU University. And Liana did the first one. I just did the last one they had. I mean, they're going to have more, but yeah. I'm a consumer, I guess, and I have had mental health challenges, so that's how I'm up here. And we've got work right now. Yeah.
Thank you. So let's dive into it. Let's talk a little bit about WISE. What do WISE stand for? And you could tell me how YSU came about as well.
So the acronym WISE, so WISE actually stands for Workforce Integration Support and Education. So it is a program of NorCal MHA, like we said, and you know, I don't know how many of the viewers know that NorCal MHA has been around since 1946 and has been a peer organization in California since its beginning. And in 2014, WISE was created, so the Workforce Integration Support and Education came out of so OSHPD, which is the Office of Statewide Health Planning and Development, was really looking for an agency that could support peers, right?
Yes.
And so helping folks understand like what it is that that peers do and what peers need to be successful, right? So we know that peers are an important part of the mental health, especially in the public mental health sector, but not everyone knew how to integrate peers or what that meant. So that's really what WISE kind of came to be. It was to really support that integration in a meaningful way. So that's why it's workforce integration. And then the support and education is where we were offering the support and the education to the agencies throughout California in how to do that effectively and how to do it well, because NorCal MHA has been doing it for decades and has been doing it well. So that's really how WISE started, and WISE U came from WISE. So all of the trainings that we created as part of the WISE program, so teaching recovery 101, peer support, teaching ethics and boundaries for peer support workers, teaching recovery planning, all of that happened through the WISE program, and then we kind of put it all together to create WISE U. And
Yes.
so WISE U is separate in that it's also funded by OSHPD,
Yeah.
right? But they were looking specifically for a peer personnel training and placement. So that is the funding that we have, and there's a couple different agencies throughout the state of California that have been granted that,
Yeah.
and it's a 2-year grant that
Yeah.
that supports the training and placement of peers, and
Yeah.
so that's how WISE U kind of came to be, and so we've been doing it for just a little over a year, but WISE as a program has been around for a couple years, and obviously NorCal MHA has been around for decades.
Yes, and I don't know if a lot of viewers know that, like you said, NorCal has been around for decades. It is the oldest peer-run organization here in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it only makes sense that this kind of work is did through NorCal Mental Health America. So let me ask you a question. Why is it important that a program like this exists and provides services to the community here in Sacramento? And I know throughout Sacramento, not just Sacramento, but I know other people throughout California
Yes.
is also welcome to be a part of this program. But why is it important that this program exists for the clients or the consumers that can participate in this program?
Yeah, I think exactly that it is an important program, and like you said, it's not just for Sacramento, it's for the greater area.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the funding to travel very far out of like our home base, which is Sacramento, so our trainings typically will happen in Sacramento or the surrounding area. But the reason that it's important is because peers, there needs to be more support in showing like how to do the work. And so in WISE, which was a statewide, we did conferences and we traveled all around the different regions of California. It was really surprising sometimes to see that people were doing the work and they were being called peers,
Mm-hmm.
but neither the individual nor the agencies knew what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were some counties where peers they were saying, oh yeah, they're peers, but they weren't actually doing peer support work.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're talking about peer support work, it's a very specific kind of work where you're using your lived experience to support others in their recovery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be through recovery-oriented services. And so a lot of times people didn't necessarily know, well, what does that mean to do recovery services? If they're seeing a clinician, is that recovery? Not necessarily.
Exactly.
Right? So peer support comes from that recovery movement, and so it's really important that folks that are doing peer support really know how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then how to be supported in doing that. And it's also being an effective peer means being an effective advocate.
Yeah.
And so the more education that you have to be able to do your job better, the better an advocate you can be for yourself and for the folks that you're serving and supporting.
Yes, yes.
And I want to add too that with WISE U, because all of the programs with WISE, all of us that created the program, we are all peers.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really, WISE U, what I think is pretty exciting about it is that it's created by peers and it's for peers. And when we're teaching this material, it's because we understand and have done this work.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a component or training that WISE teaches for those employers that hire peers. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that a lot of employers will hire peers and they didn't have an understanding of what peers are or what peer support is. And I know that WISE was able to go out and train employers how to provide that assistance to peers and support them in their role. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so when WISE started, we definitely were able to provide trainings and technical assistance to the different counties and the different agencies that employed peers, or even those that were considering employing peers and didn't necessarily know where to start.
Yes.
And that we included peer volunteers as well. So any peer positions, paid or unpaid, if you had peers that were part of the team, you needed some support, and like, what does that mean, and how can we support you in making sure that you're utilizing these peers in the most meaningful way. And so we were able to travel around and do lots of different trainings at different county levels. I mean, we did over, I think, 100 trainings in just a span of 2 years. And unfortunately, that funding no longer exists as far as being able to support the agencies. So right now, what we are able to provide is WiseU, but we are hoping that the need is evident, and that they really bring that funding back, because I think that there is still a need for agencies and for other staff to really understand what peers do and the recovery model.
Yeah, and I think that this movement will be ongoing. Yeah. Because there will always be new people that we can speak to about this movement. So I think that the work will be ongoing. So it's needed for sure. Let's talk a little bit about the qualifications. So what are the qualifications for someone that is interested in becoming a part of WiseU? What would they have to do in order to get involved?
Well, I'll let Liana speak to this.
Sure. So we do have minimum qualifications for enrollment in the program to be eligible to enroll, and that is participants have to be 18 years or older on the first day of class. They have to have a high school diploma or an equivalent, like a GED. They have to have personal lived experience of recovery from a mental health challenge, and that can be as an adult consumer, a family member, transition age youth, or we call TAY, or a parent caregiver. They have to be able to commit to all 70 hours of classroom training, and then 20 hours of fieldwork supervised training. And most importantly, they have to know why they want to do peer support work if they're not already doing it. So those are the bare minimum qualifications for enrollment in the program.
So how would they actually get enrolled? Say, for example, if I was wanting to get involved in WiseU, and I get some information about the minimum qualifications. Now, what is my next step to actually get enrolled into WiseU?
The first step, I would say, is to check out the website. There's lots of information. The website is www.wiseup.work. And then there's a link to WiseU from there. So there's a little video on the website. It's really cute, animated, short, just about peer support work and what it is and what it means to be a peer, right? And then every quarter before each session, we hold an informational session. So that might be in person at our office in Midtown, downtown Sacramento. You can also attend online because it's a webinar, or you can also call in. So there's lots of options for folks who are interested in the program to learn more information, and that's where we talk about where WiseU came from, a little bit about NorCal MHA, what to expect in terms of hours and commitment, and we go over the details like the dates and any homework activities, things like that. And then you would apply online if you're interested in enrolling. It takes about 25-30 minutes to fill out the application. And then as we get closer to the start of the next session, we start calling folks back and either do an in-person interview or a phone interview, just to make sure that their goals are in line with what our program provides. And so during the interview, it's not like a job interview. This is really an interview so that we can get to know their interests and their goals and why they want to do peer support work. What they like about work that they've done before, what they didn't like so much, so that we're really able to best serve each participant and make sure that this is the right program for them.
Nice. I do want to put out there that I know that this particular program has a very good reputation here in Sacramento. went to a meeting maybe about like a month or a month and a half ago, and you know, this particular program came up, and the people that attended this meeting had a lot of positive feedback to give. And so I do want to encourage people who are thinking about want to get into a program like this to really reach out to WiseU, because I know that they would definitely benefit from going through a program like this. So with that said, I want to kind of put both of you guys on the spot. I want you to kind of talk about your experience going through WiseU. I wasn't gonna even ask you, Liana, but since you threw it out there earlier,
I am a graduate. Yes.
Yes. So just kind of share your experience about WiseU. You know, what did you get out of it, and how did it benefit you, and why would you recommend other people to get involved with WiseU?
Okay. Sure. I have a lot of things to say about WiseU. So when I enrolled in WiseU, I was employed, but it was seasonal work, so it was my off season. I wasn't working, and I was looking for more stable, long-term. I was focused on my career, not just getting a job. Yeah. And then I've done peer support work, but more informally in my past. But really, I would find myself trying to do peer support work informally, like with coworkers or friends. But I would find myself maybe not knowing how to help best, and also not knowing things like my boundaries, and I didn't want to be overbearing and like preach to my friends or anything. So I really was interested in learning how to do peer support work in an effective way with the framework. And I've worked in the mental health field before, and I've left and I've done a lot of other things, and I've come back to the mental health field because I found that that's where my passion lies. So WiseU was perfect for me. I was able to, in a very short amount of time, learn a lot of skills, a lot of things that I think were life-changing, because it just reframed the way that I thought about a lot of issues, challenges, and different aspects of my life, both professionally and personally. And then I wasn't ready for full-time work yet, so having the 20 hours field work and then being able to transition into a 6-month internship into full-time employment was perfect transition for me. So I got a lot out of it. I would say very applicable skills in any setting, things like communication skills, just managing different issues, self-care. I feel like these things can apply to anything. So it helped me out greatly on a personal level, and also on a professional level. I still learn every time we have a session, and it's really been very beneficial.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would have to really agree with Liana on that part. I got a lot out of WiseU. That is the question, right?
Yeah.
So I was in the Bay Area, and I was living over there with my family before I applied to the WiseU program. And it's because my county over there did not, it's a good county, but didn't have the best services. And so I wanted to look outside the county where I can provide better services to other people. And so before I became a peer, I wanted to know, how do I provide those services, and how I can be of best help? Because first of all, you have to know why you want to be a peer. And for me, that was because I wish I had a peer when I was going through my own recovery. And that was a big reason, just, cultural competency. A lot of clinicians and doctors don't have that. They only see you for 15, maybe 30 minutes, and that wasn't something I got. So I wanted to be there for others who might need it. And I ended up looking and looking. There was nothing for me over there. It would be something later. And then I saw WiseU, and I have family, luckily enough, in Sacramento, so I was able to come out, stay, and take WiseU. And we talk about getting a lot out of it. Changed my life, because I was placed in a job after graduating from WiseU. And so I moved cities. And not only did I learn a lot about helping others, I learned a lot about myself going to WiseU classes. it was refreshing to know that some of the things and some of the coping mechanisms I was using were on the right path and doing the right thing. And I also learned a lot about how to deal with my own emotions, my own things, like wellness tools, and redoing rap and stuff, just tools that can help you in your everyday life. And not only learning all the things that peers need to learn, like boundaries and ethics and recovery 101 and the model differences, but just interactions and how it is. Because out of all the trainings professionally that I've done, and I've done a lot for my other jobs, this was really refreshing to me because honestly, everybody in there was like me. They've been through something, an experience. So it was really, really helpful, and I felt very comfortable in class talking about my experiences. I don't know if that helps.
No, it does. And I'm really, I'm thinking to myself how beneficial this program would be, and also other states. Not just the state of California, because I know people outside the state of California that are peers, but they're not getting this type of training. And because from the feedback that I've gotten from you, Liana, I mean, it literally changed you guys' life.
Yeah, definitely.
And how many other people out there that can benefit from this program that's in other states. Unfortunately, it's not out there like that. But I would just kind of think to myself the other day, as I was kind of creating these questions and kind of going over everything, I was thinking like, man, I personally know people that would really benefit from going through a program like this, because when you don't have that understanding or educational background about peer support or mental health, you can't really give a lot. So you can't give something you don't have. And so, and it's not the person's fault that is not education, that is not educated on these subjects. They just don't have it to give. But a program like this, and people who teaches and people who are participants in this and graduate and come out of this, you guys are very effective, in peer support and changing people's lives with this program. So,
and I think there are other programs that do teach, how to this peer training. But there's not that many that the peers the instructors are peers themselves.
Exactly.
And I really think that makes an impact, and you can feel that. I mean, because when we're speaking to these different topics, it's not just because we read it in a book. It's because we've done this work and understand what that means and understand how hard it's going to be to put up that boundary, because you got into this field because you want to help, and that can be really challenging to recognize that. But to have folks that are teaching to it, and we're also walking the walk, not just talking it. I think is really, to me, in my personal opinion, is what I think really sets this program apart. And I know firsthand that people that are involved with WISE and NorCal MHA are very passionate about the peer movement. I know for a fact. It's not for show. I've been behind the scenes, and I know that people are very passionate about this movement. So it shows in the quality of service that's being provided. So those that do come in contact with NorCal MHA or WISE U, they're definitely going to get some quality service for sure. I want to talk a little bit about the training academy, because I want to kind of explore, what is it that you guys actually teach classes? I know you kind of mentioned Peer 101. I know there's a mental health first aid component to this. Let's kind of talk a little bit about the classes that's in the training academy.
Okay, I can answer that one. So we have the classroom training, so it's 70 hours, and we spend 2 days talking about recovery. Then we spend another 2 days talking about peer support. We spend a whole day talking about ethics, boundaries, and confidentiality. That's a very popular one. We get a lot of questions answered in that one. We have a managing up class, which personally was my favorite, and that's how to manage your boss. So teach your boss how to provide support to you and advocate for your workplace needs and wants.
Nice.
And then we do a class on recovery planning, so how to assist somebody else in their recovery planning. And then we do another class that's an elective, so it's optional. It's called Surviving and Thriving. It's for folks who aren't currently placed in the peer support position yet, and it teaches interviewing skills and email etiquette and things like that, what dress code looks like. So
Nice.
That's an optional one. And then we do have mental health first aid. So that's offered free through the program, and that certification is good for 3 years.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's the 20 hours of field work. So that's where participants do some hands-on in the field training. They're supervised, so they're able to apply what they've learned in the classroom out in the real world.
Oh, nice.
And then
And they also learn group facilitation.
Oh, yes.
In the,
Okay.
Yes.
in the training, and so that's one of my favorite
Mine too.
training classes, because that's one of the things that definitely a lot of peers are out there that are leading groups.
Yes.
You know, different kinds of support groups. So we really kind of walk people through how to start a support group, to how to promote your support group, to finding the appropriate materials, to evaluate kind of how it's going, and how to actually get up in front of people and run group.
That's
what does
awesome.
that what does that look like? So
Yeah.
I think that's a really a helpful skill
Yeah.
for folks to take with them. It's a tangible skill.
Yes. So, Leanna, I heard you kind of talk about a little earlier. You kind of talked about starting off working like 20 hours a week or something like that, or because you wasn't ready to go back.
So the 20 hours of the field work, so
Yeah.
you have about, we give folks about a month to complete those 20
Okay.
hours. They can do more, of course, if they want to, but our minimum is just 20 hours. And then we give placement support after that.
Okay.
So if they want to continue volunteering
Okay.
where they did those field hours, we try to support them in doing that. And then we also support folks in job placement as well. So it depends on their goals and their readiness level. So that's the third component besides
Okay.
the classroom training and the field work is a career mentorship that we provide. So we're able to give participants one-on-one attention.
Nice.
And we create an individualized career plan with them. So that they kind of have this roadmap to go off of in pursuing their career. And so we'll do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly check-ins.
Wow.
It's whatever's agreed upon between the career mentor and the participant. And we'll do things like review their resume, practice interviewing. We did that with Zohair.
Can I interject?
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say Liana and Betsetta both were immensely helpful in me getting a job over here at the APS Clinic because, I practiced interviewing with Liana. Betsetta helped me with my resume, and this was while a class was almost finishing. It was going on, and this was I was doing a little bit of field work, but they were still helping me with this. So I just wanted to plug that in there that they're very passionate about you and helping you get a job and being the best peer you can. It was really, really helpful. Thank you guys.
Good.
Yeah. Well, you did the work.
Yeah.
And I just want to say about that too is that we really try to lead by example. So when we are doing these mentoring, in the same way that there is no one-size-fits-all recovery, right? There's no one-size-fits-all career plan.
Yeah.
So we really encourage the participants to really lead this. And so we're here as a mentor, as a support to what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
So it's, sometimes I have participants that'll message me and say oh, can we do this for my career plan? And I'm always like, it's your plan.
That's awesome.
It's not about what I want to do because I'm just here as your support. So what is it that you're trying to do? And then we really pride ourselves on giving very honest and direct feedback. I mean we don't try to lie to people or lead them on. And if someone is having certain issues that we see kind of coming up, maybe they're having time management issues, and that kind of shows up in the training, we definitely don't keep that from them, because that's going to hurt them if they don't address it. You know, that's going to keep them from where they're trying to go. So we really do try to be as direct as we can and support people, but ultimately making sure that they know that they're the ones in charge. It's their plan, not ours.
Awesome. So it sounds like flexible and tailored support.
Yeah, it's just like doing actual peer support. I just went to go see a client, and that's how I use the tools I learned in YSU classes. I still look at the stuff because I'm looking at peer recovery 101. You know, what are the actual core competencies? What do I need to discuss with my client out there? And so that's how we made the plan today with my client. Was what do you want to do, and where do you want to go? And so it's kind of like the same thing that they're doing with us. You know, the classroom students is where do you want to go in your career? Like, what kind of peer do you want to be? Advocate, you know, direct services. Where do you want to be? So you get to kind of choose what to your strengths, because not everybody can see somebody one-on-one. So maybe there'll be a peer over the phone, or maybe you went to like law school and something, and then maybe you can be an advocate, you know, because you're used to doing work at a different level instead of giving direct services. So peers have all sorts of jobs. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome. So how many graduates have YSU had from its program so far?
So currently we have 59 graduates.
Nice.
So we've been, you know, just about a year. We've had 59 that have completely made it through the program. We have a couple folks that are still completing some requirements, so we can't call them graduates. You know, we don't, if you didn't graduate, we can't say that you did. And so of the 59, 50 of them are placed. So we're very excited about those numbers. We have 31 that are in paid positions, and then 19 that are volunteering.
Nice.
Which for us is wonderful, because we know that means that, you know, that there's folks out there that are doing the work and they know what they're doing, and that's what we want to see.
Well, those numbers are really, really good in my opinion, considering that this is somewhat a fairly new program, and just to get the feedback from, you know, Leanna, and you know, it's just good. It's just, you know, you hear the excitement, you see the benefit that has paid off from you guys going through the program. And so I once again, it's life changing. It's definitely life changing.
Well, just to put it in context also, because we get this question a lot, is how big are the class sizes? So it's about 20 students per class.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a huge, so we're able to keep it small, and the group discussion really makes the training kind of take on a life of its own in a really good way. So that's another way that the program is very flexible, is not just in teaching core competencies to real life problem solving, really practical, applicable techniques and tools, but also the method of teaching, because everybody has different learning styles. So we'll show videos, we'll do role playing, we'll do little presentations, we'll practice telling our story, lots of worksheets, lots of handouts. And we're constantly improving the program every quarter. So we really incorporate the feedback. I know you found a lot of value in the role playing, so we're going to try to incorporate that.
I don't respond too well to lectures only. That's just how I learn. I'm more interactive, you know, call on me, make me discuss things, you know. So I learned a lot from classroom discussions, role playing, being active. I've taken other classes, and even like from a different organization, a peer class, and it was just lecture and very little discussion. Just to better my career and stuff, I did that, but it wasn't as productive for me as YSU was, just to put in perspective. And if somebody's ever like, oh, they've graduated so many people, and you know, there's not going to be that many jobs or something, it's not like that. It's an evidence-based practice. So and it's growing immensely. So there's jobs out there at all levels for graduates. You know, Kaiser has a peer program. You know, the county does, and a lot of different insurance companies are looking into getting peers going.
And we haven't spoken to this yet, but all of our training really is based off of, like, and I know Zahir kind of touched on it, the core competencies of peer support work. And so those come from SAMHSA. So that's the national standard of what peer support is. And so I am really proud of the work that this program is doing, because not only is it kind of preparing people to understand what that means on a national level of, like, let's, peer support, but also, we do evaluations after every training and every session, and the feedback that we consistently get is that it's one of the more fun trainings that they've been a part of. And that means a lot to me, because I'm like, you get to learn and you can still, like, have a good time. You know? I mean, it's not just party. There's a lot to learning, and there's exams, but people are enjoying themselves, which to me is a cool balance that we're able to strike.
I think it's the availability of the instructors, even after classes, that if you have questions about the material or you don't understand something, because this is valuable stuff, because you're not learning 1+1, and the stuff you're going to be doing out there affects somebody's life.
Exactly.
It's not like, oh, you're just a delivery man delivering some packages, which was my old job, and I'm affecting somebody's life. I could be changing their life. I could be impacting it, And so you really want to pay attention to everything that you're being told in class, and really want to understand it, because what you're doing out there can change somebody's life,
Yeah, and I think it's important too that, in my opinion, that when a person go through any form of training, I think it's important that it is interactive. I think it's important that it is structured to keep their attention. Because I know I've sat in trainings and 2 bowling balls on my eyelids. I mean, I'm serious, just, so to get that type of feedback, you guys are definitely on the right track. But I want to know, now, what happens after graduation? I mean, after the participants graduate, are you guys still somewhat involved if they have questions or if they want to come visit? Are you guys still involved with them?
I can answer that because I was a graduate. They're available. I can go talk to them. I can email them. Also, I finished my fieldwork hours, so they help me, like, where do you want to do it? They help me place me in those places, where I'm able to finish my fieldwork hours. So they're really available for you, and your career mentor is available for you, to work out. Where you want to be placed and where you want to go until you get placed. So it's really helpful in that, like, they just don't go like, okay, see ya, but goodbye. And on top of that, it's just like you're not paying for it, so it's a great opportunity to take.
And that's important. It's free. It's a free training. Because it's covered by OSHPED. And so,
thank you, OSHPED.
Yes, thank you, OSHPED.
Thank you, OSHPED.
So. And the mentors are available to the graduates for up to 6 months afterwards. So we know that that's an important piece of it. Is that support? Is it just because you've gone through the training? In theory, it's a lot to cover in 70 to 90 hours of training, and so to be able to have your mentor that you can kind of check in with, and when things are, well, I'm not sure about this, or just spoke to a recent student who was going to be putting together a group. And so even though we did a training on group facilitation, it's very different when you have to do it in real life and you've never done it before. So, so that was really helpful, I think, for that individual to be able to call and to speak with us and kind of create a game plan for what that was going to look like and how to make it happen and how to be successful. So we definitely want all of the participants to thrive, and so we make ourselves available because that's an important part of what we're doing.
And they work really hard. I was one of the few people that wished the training was longer because I enjoyed it that much. And but I could see how tired they get because they bust.
I know they work hard.
So I could see. I'm like, okay, I can see why it's kind of not longer, because otherwise they'll just burn out, But as a student, as a participant, I really liked it. I love learning all these things about the way I can help somebody and make my own life better, make my own recovery stronger, and guide my own path,
So I want to talk a little bit about peer certification. So how is peer certification, or is peer certification associated with WISE or WISE-U in any way?
Sure. So the interesting thing currently in California, if you're aware, that there is no legally recognized certification for peers in the state of California. So what that means is that if you're getting certified from anyone, anywhere, any program that isn't recognized legally in California, that doesn't mean that it's not valuable. It just means that California, as far as the law, doesn't recognize a certification. We are one of 3 states in the U.S. that don't have a certified peer. That it's just not written into the legislation. So, so there's a lot of people that have different opinions about that.
Yeah.
So without getting into that, the next best thing that we have is MHA National.
Nice.
So Mental Health America, the national organization, has partnered with Florida, the certifying board in Florida,
Yeah.
and has created the National Certified Peer Specialist.
Yeah.
So that is a national certification that you can get as a peer. We're lucky that WISE-U as a training does count as a prereq for that training, because you do need to have training to do this work.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're doing the WISE-U training once a quarter.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of opportunities to kind of get that training if you're interested in getting a national certification. And so the couple things that are part of the national certification is that you know, you must have approved peer support training, which could be WISE-U. And also you need to have a minimum of 18 months of documented experience. So that is equivalent to 3,000 hours of doing peer support work.
Yeah.
And then you also have to have a passing score on the national exam.
Yeah.
So, and that exam has to happen in person.
Yeah.
And it is on a computer. It's a computer-based program that's a test. And so NorCal MHA actually, and through the WISE-U program, we are able to actually administer that exam.
Nice.
And so we're really working with MHA National to be able to proctor that exam and to bring it to, you know, folks that are interested in the greater Sacramento area to take that exam to be nationally certified as a peer specialist. So we're excited about that and the possibility of supporting people in becoming peer specialists, because more than just training people, we're really interested also in just elevating peer support as a field.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we take it, you know, seriously, and it means a lot to us, this work. We know that it's important, and like Zohair says, it really, you know, it can save lives, and I know it does. So, you know, we definitely want to elevate peer support.
Yeah, and I just wanted some viewers to know that they shouldn't worry that it's not recognized in California. That doesn't mean that there's no jobs just because it's not recognized. Because MHSA and which is Prop 63 requires peers. Like it's a requirement of that. So it's an interesting way that the counties get around it, you know. But there are jobs for peers because that's a requirement. Otherwise, there would be no funding for Prop 63. You know. So I think it's not a barrier for people to get a job. It's just a barrier in other issues. You know, it's not. It won't affect peers who graduate getting jobs. That's just I wanted to put out there. You know.
No, that's a good point. Thank you for sharing that. And that's important. Is that like those are different as far as, you know, is it recognized in California? No, but is it needed? Yes. So those are different. And the national certification, you know, like I mentioned, California is only one of 3 states that doesn't have a recognized certification for peers. And so the national standard basically took the most stringent of all of the requirements, so that if you pass the national, you definitely you could pass any of the other state exams. Because it's to do the national, it's actually the most requirements and the hardest to achieve.
Yeah.
So
if someone go through the YSU program, I would think that they would, if they're not already peer certified or have that certification, I would think that they would want to move forward with getting that, because it's a good opportunity.
Right.
You know, you guys are offering a lot of services, so that's, in my opinion, that's just another way that someone can stay connected in the peer movement. And also, I want to point out there too, I know that they have to get 70 hours of is it field work? Well, not field work, but 70 hours of classroom training and 20 hours of field work. But in order to get or be eligible for the national certification, it will be equivalent to 3,000 hours. So I do know NorCal MHA do have volunteer opportunities with the Warm Line and the Older Adult program. And so if a person don't have enough hours, they could reach out through you guys to get into those programs, to have volunteer opportunities to meet those particular hours that they need.
Yes. And I think that, you know, and different people are going to have different goals in mind.
Yeah.
So some people want to do peer support work, and they might not have an interest in, you know, having a national certification.
Yeah.
But for those that are interested in that national certification, I think that's something that you definitely want to let us know, so that as we're kind of creating a career plan that's individual, you know, for you, that we really take that into account.
Yeah.
So.
There's opportunities for that even beyond NorCal MHA, because as a peer you can work in the field, you know, doing groups, and there's always people needed to do group facilitation. I know a few groups out there that are like just so big, and if there were more facilitators, they could split some of those groups and help more people, because you know, it's just like having large classroom sizes. Not every kid gets the attention they need, you know. So, and in groups, that's very important. You know, it's for people to be able to share, hear, and everything. So there's need for facilitators out there. You know, if you can volunteer for that, then that'll count towards your hours, you know, and help you on your way towards national certification faster. I know there's a few coworkers that work in groups outside of work, so they don't get paid for it. They don't get anything out of it, just like because they've been doing it for so long. They're just helping in the community because that's who they are. They're peers.
Let me ask you a question, because I'm really this is a great program. I gotta say it. I mean, it really is, because I mean, you know, peers and the mental health movement is being so downplayed, in my opinion, or a lot of stigma is attached. Now, how do you think that this program is breaking through stigma that's attached to mental health?
I think one of the ways that we're doing that is because the folks that are coming through the program and that are now doing the work have a level of professionalism.
Exactly.
And that expectation of kind of WiseU and what we're doing, I think really does help to kind of break down some of that stigma. I think that you know, there's this horrible misconception that peers, you know, aren't as professional as like clinicians, and I know that to be false.
Yeah.
You know, I think that it's just sometimes it's the hiring, whoever's hiring, that doesn't understand what the peer role is.
Exactly.
And they're, you know, potentially hiring unqualified people, and then saying, oh, peers are unprofessional, when that really wasn't the case. Is you just didn't understand what peers are, or who they are, what they're supposed to be doing. So for me, this is a really cool thing that we're able to kind of elevate, like I said before, peer support and peer support workers.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry if I interrupted you. One of the reasons that WiseU pushes ahead is because, like a lot of programs in universities, even in general, are based on their alumni.
Exactly.
And if your alumni are producing and doing well out there in the community, other people can see it and they're like, where did you learn that? Where did you go? And then I can say, WiseU, you know? And I say that proudly. I promote WiseU like almost every opportunity I get at work, because we need peers. And the reason I say that is because it's very personal for me, because I really wish there was a lot of more peers when I was going through my career.
And you know, the reason I pose that question is because, you know, I know people that are not peers, that are not professional at the workplace, that are not motivated at the workplace. I mean, in my opinion, these particular people, and it's not me trying to say anything bad about them, but they just don't match up. You know, but yet still it would be some of the same people that will have something negative to say about people that are peers. So I see this program shattering through stigma, shattering through boundaries, because it's life change. It's changing people's life. It don't get no better than that. When you can get involved with something that can change your life, it do not get no better than
For
that.
free.
Yeah, for free, exactly.
Absolutely.
You know.
I also think we're really pushing through because we have really productive conversations that we address the elephant in the room, and we address misconceptions, and we all brainstorm as a group, and you know, it's all based on all our own personal experiences. So we bring these issues personal and shared to the table, and we talk about them to see what the roots are and what solutions may be.
And it's all because every peer I've met has wanted to be a peer and really like doing their job.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of other professions, they're just there just to make money.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? and
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hate going to work, don't enjoy what they do.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't regret going to work. I look forward to it because, my weekends are great. My time off is great with my friends and family, but it's not like I'm getting up and like, oh, work. No, I'm okay with it. I like it. You know, I'm like, okay, what's the new challenge today? Who am I gonna go see? Who am I gonna go help?
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what is next for YSU?
So we are excited to be able to say that we have been extended our contract. So we know that YSU is going to continue through June of 2019. So we're excited about that. Yes. Nice. So there'll be many more YSU sessions, and hopefully we can continue to keep going. That's what we want to do. And so, you know, with the national certification, that's something we're also getting involved with. So, you know, who knows what it could be. We know as much as that. We're 2019, but yeah.
So do you see the program somewhat expanding, you think, in the future, or just,
I think that what we're hoping to do eventually is to move towards having some of the training be online.
Oh, nice.
And that way we could expand, because, you know, I said earlier we don't have the funding to travel. But if we can get some of the training online, that could help us kind of spread that message. It's just figuring out how to make sure that it communicates the same messages and the same understanding when you take something online than if, you know, we're all in the same room having the conversations. So we got some things to figure out for the future of YSU still, but we're very excited.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about, have you thought about, or will it be the same training, or maybe you guys may add some training or different trainings to the program, or? Yeah,
so I mean, the core of the training that we have now, definitely, and then I think depending on the needs that we're seeing in the community, so we already know that, you know, at some point in the future, people are asking for a elective that is, you know, a youth component. So
Very
for TAE,
nice.
A component that's just specifically for family members as peers, and what does that look like? Because it's a little different than as a consumer peer. So, you know, and we're definitely listening to all the feedback that we're getting, and we're always constantly trying to bring that into our planning process and make the program really meet the needs as much as we can and make it better every time.
Nice. So when is the next session?
So the next session is the winter 2018. It starts on January 8th. And it ends in January, late January. So it's coming up. We're accepting applications year round. And we'll probably start doing interviews this month and next month.
Okay, so are there, at this point, do you know if there are any room left for people to get in for this next session?
We're still,
Okay.
Yeah, so anyone who's interested, click on the link on the website. Like Liana said, it's www.wiseup.work. And there's a link there to apply now. And so,
yeah.
I
really do want to encourage people that watch this program to get involved. Because like I said, it's changed your life. I know I emailed you because I was actually talking to somebody about the program, and this particular gentleman told me that his wife would benefit greatly from the program, and so I was kind of telling him about it, and I said, actually they're going to be on the show on Monday, and so I said, well, I'll contact the person who oversees the program and pass the name on, but he was very, very excited that a program like this existed because he really felt like his wife would benefit from going through a program like YSU. So I'm doing as much as I could to get the word out.
We appreciate it.
About YSU. And so I'm hoping that the connection is made where this lady can go through and just, because I know for a fact it'll change your life. I do know that. So, but guys, thank you for being on the show. We are running out of time.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that you guys will come back on the show in the near future and kind of give us a good report about what's going on at YSU. And then that is it for today's edition of Mental Health Matters. If you enjoyed today's topic, or if you have additional questions, or if you like a DVD copy of the show, please dial 916-366-4600. Thank you.
When I think of where I've been, the good times and the bad, on a scale of 1 to 10, either way I'm glad, 'cause I'm not alone. As I'm reaching for the phone, your voice is there, you really care, you're my comfort zone. Sometimes when I'm lost, crushed beneath the pain, though I can't afford the cost, I just smile and play the game. But there's a healing place where I cannot pretend. Your smiling face, your heart's embrace heals me again. So even when the storm is strong and I'm deaf to my own cry, I faintly hear a distant song and I simply can't deny.